Getting organized here. Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to Wednesday Live here at Humboldt Workshop. I hope you all are doing awesome today as we settle in to hang out. Right on. Let's see. I'm not the first one here this morning. You guys beat me to it. Sam's here. Sam says hello. What's going on, Sam? And Harry Dude says, what's up? I'm on here early for a change. Right on. Right on. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. What's going on? Sorry, just getting everything situated here. Alrighty, and there's Paul. Paul's here. Paul says, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Paul. Welcome. Hope you're all doing awesome. Yasser's here. Yasser says hello. Good morning. Harry Dude says, anyone else having audio issues? Oh, no. That's not what I want to hear. Oh, boy. Hopefully it clears up, Harry Dude. I'm not doing anything different on my end, so I hope I hope it clears up. Here, let me just there. Isn't that, remember that? Like the old TVs, you'd have to smack the side. Hopefully that fixed it. For some reason this morning my voice sounds scratchy. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because we had like cool temperatures and like rain and stuff last night. And I left the window open. I don't know. So my apologies. It's not horrible, but if you notice it, then I'm just letting you know. My voice is doesn't hurt or anything, just feels a little weird. Let's see. Sam says, what's the name of the shape of a grand piano? The name of the shape? I have no idea. Robert says, gonna have to miss today. My sister's coming over and need to get cleaned up so we can go to Stillwater, Oklahoma to do some shopping. Right on. Well, Robert, I'm glad you could stop in for a minute. Enjoy the time with family and have fun shopping. Grandpa Graybird says, LOL, it did fix it. Right on. Yeah, I know more than once I've had to smack the TV. Remember those? It doesn't work right, and you just give it a good old slap on the side, and voila. Paul says it's called a rectangular prism. Really? Interesting. Rectangular prism. Who knew? Paul did. Robert says, everyone have a great stream and day and week and so on. Right on. Thanks, Robert. And you have a good one yourself. Right on. Right on. Glad you could stop in for a second. Paul says, I have one in my living room. I would like to have a grand piano. That'd be cool. I don't do much piano playing. In fact, 2 years ago or something like that, we had an upright, a little upright. And because I took piano lessons for many years when I was growing up, and I thought it'd be cool to have a piano. Got the piano, played it some, and it mostly just sat. So we donated it to somebody at my daughter's schools, and they're still using it. Harry Dude says, hi, Robert. Bye, Robert. Right on, right on. Well, what are you guys working on? Around here, I got two different projects going on kind of at the same time. So I'm working on the acoustic. I showed you last week, I got the plates all joined. And I think last week I was working on filling the holes in the ambrosia maple. I got that all done. Actually, you can kind of, like, how do you point at that? It's all backwards. Right there. You can kind of see them right there. I got that. I got the holes all filled. I've got them almost sanded to thickness, and now I'm moving on to working on the rosette. I made a little jig for the rosette. And I've got well, it's hard to see because of all this tape, but I've glued up a radial rosette, and this is ready to be cut out. Probably we'll get to that here, maybe not today, but Yeah, just made a little jig so I could cut everything at the angle that I need and glue it up here. This little disc kind of holds everything in place. And I'm not sure how this is going to look. We'll see what it looks like when I get it cut out. And then as to whether or not I really want to use it or not. I'm pretty happy with it so far, but we'll see once it's cut into rosette size if I want to use this or try something different. So working on that. That got put on the back burner because I'm doing something a little different. Let's see. Sam says I haven't found the spare key of the piano. Yeah, isn't that weird? You can't just find the key. Be blessed, Desert Art. Gives a wave. Right on. Good morning. But what's on my workbench right now? A paddle. We're making a paddle. Well, I'm making a paddle. Like a canoe paddle. Something I've never made before. And there's a bit of a backstory here to this, but I'll get to that here in just a moment. But have you ever made a paddle? Have you ever made a canoe paddle, a kayak paddle? I don't know. I'm working on scalloping this out right now for kind of the handle. So raise your hand if you need the backstory as to why we're making a paddle. It's going to be in the video, but... Neptunes is here. Neptune says, hello all. What's up, man? Good morning, Neptunes. Be blessed says, at Monastery. Oh, right on. Right on. Yeah. This has been kind of a learning experience for me. Making a paddle. It's very similar in some ways to carving a guitar neck because there's profiles. It's not just a flat stick. It's got a, I can't quite, I don't know if I can get it quite in the light where you can see it, but there's a ridge kind of right down the middle, and it tapers off from either side, on both sides, to, kind of to a center line down the side of the board. Kind of tricky. Kind of tricky to get to get the right profile on there. And, well, I don't even know what the right profile is. We're just kind of winging it. It's got a... Any of you are paddlers, canoers, whatever, you got to have a little bit of flex to it, and it does have some flex. I don't know how much flex it needs, but for what we're going to do with it, I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, this has been kind of fun. I'm hoping to finish this up today. As soon as we're done, I'm going to finish scalloping out this side, get the grip shaped, and then round this over, give everything a good sanding, and get the finish on there. So I'm anxious to try this out. Shenanigans will ensue. Neptune's is giving a wave. Hair Dude says, that's a paddling. Yeah. So, the backstory. Why are we building a paddle? I think I've mentioned before we have a pond here where I live. And a week or two ago, we had a torrential rain. And at the pond where the water flows into the pond, we have a little bridge. It's about an 8-foot long bridge, and just made out of 2x material, and it's just so you can get to the other side, and I can drive the lawnmower over it to do a little mowing on the other side. And we had so much rain that our little stream turned into like a raging river almost, and it washed this bridge out into the pond, like down to the other end of the pond. So, this is story time for a second, and I'll catch back up with you here in a second. So it washed to the side where I wasn't sure how we were going to get it back because there's trees. I thought, well, I could tie a rope onto it and just float it back up there, but I can't get around some of these trees with the rope. So I ended up tossing a rope all the way across the pond, which was a project in and of itself. But we got this rope tied on there, so my thought was I was going to pull it back across and then back to where it needed to be. So I tied the rope on and pulled it out into the water, and it's floating fine. And I thought, well, I wonder if this will hold me. Like, could I float on this thing and and like, you know, float it back to where it needed to be? It'd be like a raft, like a Tom Sawyer raft. So I stepped on it, and it wouldn't hold me too well. My daughter was helping me though, and somehow we got the bright idea that she should try it. So she stood on this thing, and it floated her. So she knows how to swim and all that stuff. So I wasn't too concerned with, you know, if it were to sink or she fell in or something like that. Plus, it wasn't very deep where she was anyway. She could have just stood up. But so we ended up floating her across the pond on this little Tom Sawyer raft and got the bridge back to where it needed to go. But that sparked this. She had such a good time, and I really wanted to float, but it won't hold me. So, but now it's like almost a daily thing. Hey, let's go float on the pond for a few minutes. So we'll go out there, and I'll tie the rope on, and she hops on and goes out and floats around. And she was using a stick, you know, kind of a push stick to move around. And we thought, man, we need a paddle. And so we grabbed a shovel, you know, a little short shovel, and she was using that. But you know, it's a little bit heavy and kind of awkward, sort of, but it worked pretty good. So I got the bright idea, like, let's make a paddle. So you can go out there and float around on the bridge, boat, raft thing. So I thought that'd be a fun project, and that's why we're making a paddle. And I want to try to get a whole bunch of pool noodles and like attach them to the bottom of this bridge thing and see if I can make it float the both of us while we paddle around on this raft that's not really a raft, but has now turned into a raft. Plus, it's a cool project. This has been pretty fun. You know, I've learned a fair bit about, you know, the shaping and stuff. Now I've spent, you know, I used to be in the Boy Scouts, and we spent many hours paddling rivers and lakes and stuff in canoes. So I'm familiar with paddles, but I've never made one till now. It's not like any super fancy shape, really just a rectangular shape. I don't even have like much of a taper on the sides, because for this round I'm not super concerned with the shape. I just need a paddle so that we can go float around the pond. So that's why we're building a paddle. You know, half my handle here. There, that's story time at Home Built Workshop. Anyway, I'm coming back. Sam says I got Phillips LED tape installed. Oh, with the aluminum trunking, with the diffuser. It looks pretty cool and controllable too. Right on, Sam. That's it. That's cool. I was doing some research on some LED, the LED strips, just a few days ago. That's awesome. I'm glad you got it up and working. I'm sure it looks pretty cool. Neptune says, during Hurricane Harvey, I was able to paddle my canoe out of my yard and down my street. Man, that would be insane. That is just nuts. That is something I wouldn't mind getting, like a canoe or a little kayak or even a little rowboat or something like that, just for this purpose. We've talked about that here for years, you know, how it would be kind of cool to have a little something you can go out and just paddle around and maybe, I don't know, maybe toss a fishing line. Not that I really fish at all, but I think it'd be kind of fun just to go out and play around on the water. So now we're going to have at least one paddle. If this works well, I might make another one. But yeah, so far this has been pretty cool. And Sam says it's never good to be up the creek without a paddle. Now we will always have a paddle. How well it's going to work, I don't really know, but it's going to work better than the shovel, I'm sure of that. The only thing I'm not 100% sure of is how much flex this thing needs. Like, I can't even get this to where I can show you. Yeah. It doesn't have a ton of flex, but there is a little bit. I probably need to thin it down just a little more, but I'm not gonna I'm not going to get too stuck in the weeds on it this time around. Nicholas says, build one. I have thought about that. That'd be a cool project. The challenge for me is the entire thing would have to be done outside, because there's no way I could build a canoe here in the workshop. I don't have that much space. I mean, I could fit a canoe in here, but I have no space to get around it. I think a canoe would fit. A shorter one probably would, but there would be absolutely zero room for me to work on either side. Plus, it would be right over top of my workbench and everything, and it would be very difficult. If I could come up with some way to do it outside where it's sort of protected, of course, I don't really know if it matters if it were to get rained on during the process, but yeah, it would be a challenging project for sure. But it would be fun, and I am not against it at all. Maybe someday when we have a larger shop. But yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. Build one of them cedar strip canoes or something like that. Sam says LEDs are voice activated via Alexa. That's cool. I don't have any of those sort of smart home assistants or whatever they're called. But I've seen some cool stuff done with them for sure. Harry Dude says if you get bored of it being a paddle, chuck a couple of strings and a pickup on it. Thought about that too. Yeah, you probably get 3 strings on there. It's not quite an inch and a half, which is what I usually do for. Actually, it is. I was thinking of the width, 1.125. Yeah, it is 1.5 inches. I can get a good 3 strings on there. Put a bass pickup in here. Actually, it'd be almost like an upright bass. It's right now sitting on I'm sitting on a stool, but it's on the floor. I mean, you could boom 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 boom. And if you put one of them little stand thingies on there, it totally would work for an upright bass. I thought about that. That would make an interesting instrument. Paul says smartphones do that also unless you turn that feature off. Yes, I think I have it turned off on mine because I don't really need it listening for me to tell it to do something. That I think they have the Google thing, and I don't know. I don't mess with that on the phone. I don't need my phone listening. It already listens enough. It's so weird how that it listens. It's got to. You talk about something with somebody, and then after that, even though you're not even on the phone at the time, you just have a conversation with a buddy, and later that day, you're getting ads for the thing you just talked about. So I know it's listening. Phone. Sam says, oh, excuse me, guys. I don't know what's going on. Sam says if you get LED tape light, just the ones with a simple remote control would be cheaper and cool. Yes, I have used those before. That has the little, typically it's the little white remote control thing. And yeah, I've done a couple little projects with those. They're definitely fun to play around with, with all the little programmed patterns and things, and you can select the different colors. I have used them before, and yeah, they're fairly inexpensive. I think one time I bought ones that were like really cheap, and like the colors got all discolored, and yeah, it didn't work out so well. So I kind of avoid the super cheap ones. So what are you guys working on? Paul, what's on your bench? I know you're at the other place now, but what's on your workbench? Harry Dude, what are you working on? What sort of cool repairs have you got going on? Now that you know what I'm working on. Paddle. Sam says, Cobb LEDs are newer versions. Yes, I've seen those. I know what you mean. Those are kind of cool too. It's like a corn cob. Nicholas says, making my first acoustic guitar. Nice. Right on. Oh, and finishing up a cajon. Ooh, that's another one. That's something else that I've wanted to build. Yep, I am. I'm working on my second acoustic now. I've got it started. It's underway. As I am right now, I will be jumping in and out here and there to work on other things like this paddle. I had to set the guitar aside for a little while I knock that out, and then I'll always be returning to the guitar. I'm at the rosette stage, so I'm pretty early on in the build. The plates are joined, rough cut, oversize, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do for the rosette, and then hopefully here, as soon as this paddle's done, I will get back to that. We'll get it cut out and get the rosette installed. So still early in the stages, but it is well underway. And a cajon, that would be cool. Did you put a snare in it? A lot of them I've seen with snares, and I've seen some without the snares. But yeah, I've wanted to make one of those for a while. Let's see. Neptune says, cleaning off my desk so I can start working on a one-channel EEG with an Arduino. I don't know what an EEG is. Isn't that thing that the Ghostbusters used? What is an EEG? Electronic egg grinder? Hairdude says, in the middle of a PA speaker repair, doing the hunt for parts. This one won't be too much trouble, just a blown horn driver. Oh, right on. You replacing the whole horn? Or somehow just the driver? I don't know. Can you replace just the driver? That I am not familiar with. Sam says Cobb LEDs are flat, not corn cob shape. Oh, I was thinking of something different. My bad. Nicholas says, I'm still making forms and tooling. And he's adding an adjustable snare to the cajon. Right on. Yes, especially the first build, there's so many forms, templates, jigs that need to be made. And it really, while it's super satisfying to make your own forms, molds, all of that stuff, it does add a considerable amount of time. I went back the other day and watched a little bit of the videos that I did on the acoustic guitar. Yes, I had to go watch my own videos to see what my process was, just to make sure. And there was several episodes where I'm building the mold, I'm making radius dishes, I'm doing this, that, and I'm already, on this build, I'm already at the rosette stage where the last build was quite a few. I had quite a few steps that I needed to do before that because I had to make the molds and templates. But this time around, now that I have them done, I can already see that this is going a lot quicker. Although I haven't made a ton of progress in the last few days to a week or so, just having all of that stuff done has made it so much easier. So if you get to the point where you're feeling like, man, there's just too much stuff here, don't worry about it. Just keep going. Knock those things out, because those jigs and templates and things, you're going to be able to use them again and again and again, as long as you're building the same shape. So it's totally worth taking the time and make it as best you can. Do it right the first time, and they will last you a very long time and save you so much time on the next builds. So yeah, it's a super cool step, making all this stuff. It's really exciting. Once you get it done and you start using it, it's awesome. So right on, way to go. All right, Neptune says, that's a big word. Electro and words. Oh, gotcha. I don't really know what that is. I don't even know how to say that. Electroencephalography? Paul says, just finished the neck for the GGBO 2023 guitar, starting the ash body this weekend. Nice. Right on. Yeah, I don't, I still haven't. We talked about, last time we talked about it was, I don't know, a month or more ago. I haven't even looked into it. I don't think I'm gonna do it this year. Sam says, have you considered trying a food tasting channel for trying foods from other countries? While that sounds fun, and I would totally enjoy trying all these different foods, I really never have. I've never considered that. Neptune says it measures brain waves. Oh, interesting. Sam says, please forgive my tablet PC if it automatically capitalizes letters within my typing. It's got a mind of its own. My phone has the mind of its own too. You're trying to type stuff to somebody and it always changes the words, and it's all good. Here dude says the diaphragm in the tweeter is stuffed, so I need to either replace the diaphragm or the tweeter as a whole. How do you? That would be interesting to see how you replace just the diaphragm in there. Paul says doing the non-pro division this year just for some free advertising. That is the good part, and it would be kind of cool to to get some of that free advertising, and that's exactly the way I kind of looked at it. I don't know if I'll knock one together. I guess this could be a GGBO. We'll put a, like Harry Dude said, we'll slap a fretboard on here. But it is fun. It is fun for the publicity thing, I think. Paul says, using a guitar that was already commissioned to build, just filming it for the project. Now that's how you do it. You already know what's going out the door. You're already building it. You don't have to worry about anything. That's how you do it. Nice. Kill two birds with one stone. Or something like that. Excellent. All right. Nice. Yeah, so I think that's where I'm trying to think what else I got here I can show you guys at the moment. I think we're pretty well up to speed on stuff. So speaking of ash, Paul, well, I guess it sparked my memory anyway. I guess it's not really an ash tree. I've been trying to figure out how to get some. Well, I lost my train of thought. So I was talking to my family the other day back in Pennsylvania, and they're having a bunch of trees taken down. Well, not a bunch, but a few trees taken down that are like started growing over, the garage and stuff, and they could potentially fall down. Some of them are pretty good size, and they said they're taking them down. So I'm like, man, how can I get out there to haul a bunch of logs back? I'd have to like rent some big trailer or something. Maple. I don't think there's any ash coming down. That's what got me thinking when you said ash. I forget what it is. Maple. I know there's a pine of some sort, but there was a couple other species that, man, I think would be good for building guitars in a couple years once you got everything sliced up. But I have no way to haul all these things back there. Sam says, people address their vehicles as she. If that's so, shouldn't they get their vehicles checked after going to multiple gas stations with male gas? Well, that's an interesting thought. Heritage says, the diaphragm and coil in a tweeter high-frequency driver up usually come as an assembly that bolts onto the magnet. Is it like one of those, kind of a, I don't know, I'm thinking of the tweeter, it fans out, kind of the horn deal, and that it bolts onto the back side of that? That's interesting. I guess I've never really inspected one all that close. That's cool. Coils in the driver. Huh. Oh, so it just bolts onto the horn. Is that what you're saying? Bolts onto the back of the horn? If so, I could see that. Never really thought about it that way though. If I'm envisioning what you're saying correctly. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so you have to find that driver assembly. Hmm. I imagine they're not completely universal. You probably have to find like the specific one that fits. You probably can't just buy a, I don't know, Electro Voice deal and bolt it onto the back of whatever the horn thing is. It says the complete driver then bolts on to the horn flare. Okay, so the horn flare is just that's just the horn piece. Everything is at the back. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. I never thought about it. Like I said, never thought about it like that. Never had to work on one, really, so that's pretty cool. Sam says in America, there's a company that sells drivable RV shells for new owners to build how they want. Yes, there are. And there's a place, I forget where they're at, but somewhere here in Colorado, not too far from me, that does glitch there. But anyway, there's a place somewhere nearby. I almost think it's in Colorado Springs that gets those kind of blank vehicles, and then they outfit it. You basically go on and you choose all of the options, and they build all the boxes and cabinets and whatever, and outfit those blank vehicles, which is kind of cool. It'd be kind of fun to do, kind of a fun project to just buy an old, maybe not old, but some sort of a van or something, and do the whole conversion thing. That'd be quite a build. Build all the cabinets. Be a lot of work. So, back to my rosette. I want to see what you guys think. Let's see, which one's the top? I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of hard to tell, but because this is not sanded. But if you can see this, this is end grain elm. I took a piece of wood, or a piece of elm, piece of wood. Of course it's wood. And sliced off chunks from the end grain, and then cut them at this angle, and I think 30 degrees, 15 degrees, I don't remember, and glued them into this round. So I'm thinking that's what I want to do for the rosette. What do you guys think? Do you think that'd look cool? I'm also thinking that I might do some maple purfling on the outside as well as the inside, because the top that I'm using is not as white as the Engelmann spruce I did on the first build. I'm using a Port Orford cedar this time around, and it's a little, I don't know what you'd call it. It's a little bit browner, and this is a little darker brown when it gets some finish on there. So I'm thinking this with some nice light maple purfling to kind of bring some lightness back to the top, so it's not all just kind of a brownish color. But I don't know. This is the first time I've ever done a radial rosette of any style, let alone end grain. I'm not sure how that's going to look yet. I think it would be pretty cool. So, just wanted to throw that out there. See what you guys think. I know it's kind of, if you envision about a 1/2 inch wide strip, am I going to show you that? About a 1/2 inch wide strip cut. I think the line is right where I have that pencil mark. That's the inside, and then I think the outside, yeah, I've got a pencil mark right there. So it's somewhere in that neighborhood, all the way around, wrapped with maple. I think it'd be kind of cool. And that's, as long as I can get this cut out without it exploding, which I don't think it will, but that's what I'm thinking. Although I like I'm super happy with the spalted maple and stuff that I did on the first build. I definitely don't want to duplicate that. Well, I do want to duplicate that, but I don't need to build another one the same way. So I'm trying to work in elm as my accent wood, whereas I used the spalted maple on the other one. I'm thinking this time around I want to do elm. When I was searching for material or a good piece of end grain to use, I did find a piece of elm that I could book match to make the head plate. So I think I've already got the head plate done. Well, not done, but I've got the piece of wood set aside. So I'm thinking elm that I want to use on for all my accents. So elm rosette, elm head plate, elm end wedge, elm heel cap. I'm even kicking around the idea of elm binding or maple binding with elm purfling. Well, that's another question. So my back and sides are maple. I showed you that before. If you can envision, you know what maple looks like under a finish. Maple, I was thinking elm binding because it's going to be a little bit darker and kind of frame the maple. But then on the top, so I mentioned I'm having a hard time articulating my words here, so my apologies. If I do the elm rosette with maple purfling, elm binding, and then I would put maple purfling around the inside of that to frame out the top, I think it would be kind of a cool color scheme. I believe what it would end up with is kind of an earthy type color scheme throughout the whole guitar, because like I said, the cedar top is a little bit browner. This is kind of brown-ish. The maple, I mean, it's not really brown, but sort of. I just think it would be a fairly subdued color palette. Whereas on the last one, I did that bright Paduke and the bright white spruce top and the spalted maple. It's kind of a bright color. I think this one would be a little more earthy. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. But I think it would be cool, and that's kind of why it's kind of what I'm thinking of, or kind of why I don't even know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're familiar with any of these woods, when they have finish and stuff on them, you can probably kind of get an idea of what I'm seeing, and I think it'd be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. Just a whole different color palette. I'm coming back. I saw some comments come scrolling on in, so bear with me. KK is here. KK says, "Good evening, Brother Jeff, and my good friends in beloved America. I wish the best for our families. Glad I caught the show. Take care, everyone, and rock on. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Right on, KK. I hope you're doing well. Glad you could stop in. Yeah, we are doing good here, my friend. My best to you and your family as well." Heritage says, "This one's JBL, so the Aussie JBL importer should carry them as spares. These parts are usually not universal, but brand specific." Yeah, I can imagine that. Sam says there's a new law in the UK giving cops the power to seize and crush the illegal electric scooters. Illegal electric scooters? Interesting. Paul says, "Looks cool." What do you think, Paul? Do you think that'll be a cool color scheme? You know, with the cedar top, elm, bright maple, hopefully bright maple to match the maple back and sides. I think it'd be pretty cool. Sam throws the thumbs up. Right on, man. Nicholas says, "Very nice." Oh, thank you. Nicholas says, "We'll probably use cherry and maple for purfling with lacewood binding." Ooh, that would look cool. I have some lacewood. I've been saving the pieces for a while for just the right project. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to use it for yet, and that's mainly why I haven't used it. Lacewood's super cool, and cherry and maple. I think that would look awesome as well. Um, so you're thinking of doing maybe a two color purfling. I'm thinking for this one, like I did on the first acoustic, just a one, oh, about a millimeter or so thick purfling. Um, I just think it would. I think it'd be cool because maple back and sides, or so you got the maple sides, and then it's going to be framed out with the darker brown elm. Maybe no purfling on the back, but then on the top, I would I would do some more elm, which is going to frame that maple, and then on the purfling on the top. So I'd have the darker brown of the elm, little thin white maple purfling, and then the cedar, which is, I'm assuming, going to be a little bit more brown as well. A little bit anyway. I'm not as dark as the elm, but I just think it would look cool. And then it goes to the center of more maple purfling. That's what I'm thinking. Just a single strip of purfling. I've got some black, white, black fiber purfling that I considered using, but I think I want to try again to go with the all wood purfling. It's a little bit more work to make and to get to get it down to the thickness. I have a drum sander that I use for that, but I can't get it down to where it's a millimeter thick. So I have to get a nice flat board, double-sided tape the strips to that board, and then I can run it through the drum sander to get it that thin. So I have to kind of space it up like this. This would make a good board for making purfling. I just put my double-sided tape on here, stick the strips down to that, and then I can run the whole thing through the drum sander. It'll go pretty darn low, the drum sander will, but it starts to get a little weird when it's that far off of the feed belt. But I think the maple and cherry with the lace wood binding, I think that'll look really awesome. Oh, are you making your own binding, or are you buying some lace wood for it? I am going to plan to make some binding. In fact, I've got the piece right here, or one of them. This is a leftover chunk from the project that I made for my daughter to hold her saddle blankets and stuff. It's not a perfect piece. There's a big old ugly knot right there. And on this side, there's some splits and cracks, but I believe I can cut some of this bad material off and still have plenty of long lengths. So I can see right down the center is what looks to be a clean spot. So I think this is what I'm going to use. I've got one more piece of this that's a little worse. I think there's enough good material in it though. I just got to get rid of this knot and some of the other splits. But it's really rough right now, but I haven't even gotten to where I'm going to start cutting this up yet. But I think the material's in there, in the longer length. I just got to find it past the defects of this piece. I think it's there. I'm just not 100% sure exactly where. So it's in there. We'll find it. Sam says, I'm not sure if maple's available in the UK. Could be wrong though. It seems as though I have heard of some maple that grows over there, but I don't know if it grows over there or maybe it gets imported. I'm not sure, really. Anybody has any info on that? I would be interested to learn that. Paul says, I think it would. I think it'd look good. That's what I'm planning on right now. That's the idea that's thumping around inside my brain. Sam says, eat chocolate to ease your sore throat. Sounds like an excuse to just eat chocolate, but it works. Interesting. I've not tried that. I'll have to go find me a piece of chocolate. Totally unrelated question. What is everybody's favorite brand of chocolate? This is not a one is best over the other. This is just a question that I'd like to throw out to you guys. Put it down here. You got a favorite brand? Let me know what it is, and I'll tell you mine once I because I don't want to influence your decision. Nicholas says, same. I need a sled for my drum sander to get that low. Yeah, like I said, mine'll barely go there, but it's too weird. It's not consistent. I don't know if it's because it's only a millimeter or so thick, so I found that the feed belt will actually lift it up and cause it to do weirdness. So, yeah, so a little sled, even a little board, just a little thin board of some sort, something to just lift it up so it keeps everything nice and flat. Nicholas says, making my own. Right on. That's what I'm going to do. Make my own. Paul says you could splice the binding. It's tricky, but can be done. Yes, I have seen people do that. In fact, my buddy Matt at Zimbelman Guitars here in the Springs has talked a little bit about that. I haven't done it. But yeah, if I can't find, if I truly can't get past some of the defects on this, that might be what I'm left doing. Some of the grain lines on here, depending on how I do it, could be lined up to, but I still got to even run this through the drum sander to clean it up. I don't even know what it looks like under there. But yeah, splicing it is an option. You got to like do a scarf joint kind of deal or yeah, not a scarf. Yeah, a scarf joint. But yeah, that is not out of the question. I'm pretty confident that with the pieces that I have, even though they're a little, they're not 100% great. I really believe. Let me grab this one. So here's another piece. This one, it's pretty nasty, especially up at this end. Bark inclusions and stuff. This one's not as long, but I still think that, look right here along the side, all the way up to here. How long is that? That might be enough right there. Oh yeah. So from the end where, right in here, I could cut some strips out of there up to this little knot. That's 36 inches. So there's plenty there. I think I've got the material. Like I said, I just have to find it and work around the defects in these boards. Here's another piece. It's still kind of ratty. This one actually has a little kind of that spalting color. I believe that's what that is. But right here, it's here. I just got to find it. How many times can I say that? And worst case, if for some reason I can't, maybe I'll use maple binding and just make purfling out of that. But my plan is to get the binding out of those pieces. Okay. Nicholas says, I will have mahogany back and sides. It's unusual pattern though, as it's stripy, kind of like an ambrosia maple. Nice. What do they call that? Something like a bee's wing or something like that? I don't know. Although stripy, that wouldn't be. I think bee's wing is more like a quilted, something like that. That sounds cool. Mahogany back and sides. I have a mahogany set. I have it. It's mahogany back, sides, and top. At some point, I want to do an all mahogany body, and I've already got I've bought the set. I found a really good deal, and so I bought the set, and that's just what I'm going to hang on to for a little while, and but that'll be a build at some point. But that's going to be awesome. What are you going to use, Nicholas, for the top? What do you have planned for that? Paul says the field maple is the UK's only true native maple. Ah, field maple. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. I know I've heard of I've heard some people talk about maple in the UK, but I am not an expert on all the local trees for all the areas. But all right, we got chocolate recommendations coming in here. So let's see. Paul says Lindorf. And Neptune says all brands. Sam says Cadbury's the real stuff. LOL. Right on, right on. I'm a Hershey's fan. I love Hershey's chocolate, and that would be my personal favorite for choice of chocolate. Some people say that's not chocolate, but that's my pick. Nicholas says, "We'll frame with the cherry and maple, then rosette will be a cherry frame with windows of either lacewood or some more of the mahogany." Oh, that's gonna be cool. That sounds like it's gonna be really awesome. You got to share pictures. Paul says, "Just make sure the angles are good so it won't show." Yep, it's got to be a really steep angle. That much I know. And Mike's here. Mike says, "Hey, good morning on the job site. So just listening in." Right on, Mike. We'll make sure everyone on the job site gets to work. Right on, Mike. Hope you're doing good today. Nicholas says, "I think it's a good plan." I agree with you. I think it's a fantastic plan. It is going to be awesome. Paul says to Nicholas, "Make sure it's. Oh, you sure it's not sapele stripes like maple?" And Nicholas says, "Don't know. They said it was Congo mahogany, but not all pieces had striping. We'll be using a Sitka spruce top." Ooh, cool. Yep, my first one was spruce as well. It was Engelmann spruce, but spruce nonetheless. Sam says, "How is it that the guy spends 5% of the time doing the project and 95% of the time looking for the tool he was just using 5 seconds ago?" Yes. Yeah, I have done that. In the last day or so, I've looked for these more than once because I take them off, set them down, and they're not where I set them. They really were, but I was looking in the wrong spot. I lost a set of clamps, the quick grip clamps. Just had them, turned around, they weren't where I thought that I set them. So, yep, I know exactly what you mean. Paul says, "Nice." Sempackin says, "I'm late. Hi, everyone. Are you ready to say goodbye?" Well, and if not quite yet, we're waiting for you. How are you doing, Rick? Right on. Rick says, "Sounds like you're talking about old age." Well, no, just forgetting where you put stuff down. Yeah, it's been a couple days like that. Especially when you're doing one thing 1 second, and you take off your glasses or your earmuffs and you set them down and turn around and you work on stuff over here and you're like, "Oh, I need my safety glasses," and you know. Rick said, "Yep, old age." Maybe, I don't know. Oh boy. Sam says your streams start at 4 p.m. GMT. Oh, 4 p.m. your time? Right on. Mike says, "I've bought so many tape measures due to someone placing them in the wrong place." I know, dang that someone. That's why I have things like, well, see, I didn't even put this one back. Like this is just a little 2-meter one, metric, huh? Not just metric, it's inch and metric, but I super glued a couple little magnets to the back. It almost always lives right up there. I've got another one in this drawer. I've got them sitting around the place because when I can't find one, hopefully there will be another one nearby. I've got one that I stick to the side of my drum sander. It's got a magnet on the back. Yeah. In fact, I need to get a couple more of those little magnetic ones because I really try to keep them quite a bit spaced out, because while this is the one that I mainly use, sometimes I set it down somewhere else and it's not up there. And I was just thinking, I'm going to get me another pair or two of these so that I don't have to always track this pair down for the exact same reason. Rick says, I'm almost 70 and it's a daily issue. Nicholas says, is there a way to send pics on here? Not on here, no. But you could email them to me, or if you're in the Facebook group, is a great way to share pictures. I wish there was a way to do it on here, because that would be kind of cool, you know, to be able to share it with everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, we can't share that in the chat. Sam Packen says, I used to blame the kids when they were at home, try to put things back right after using something. I try to do the same thing. I try. But it doesn't always work. Mike says, 2 meters, just long enough to go from one side of the shop to the other. Haha. Pretty darn close. Let's see. Oop, stay. Oh, not quite. I'm just a little bit short. So let's see if that, but probably not by much, a foot or two. Yeah, this one I bought this one and a couple others that had metric on it way back when I built the neck router jig, where the jig, you put the neck in and it rotates around on the router, you know, that thing. I was using plans that were all in metric, so I went out and tried to find some actual metric tape measures, and for me here, that proved to be quite challenging actually to find them locally. But I was able to find a couple that had both imperial and metric on it, but I didn't even find one single one. But this has been the one that I've been using, and I still go to the inch side almost all the time, but it does have the millimeters and centimeters on there, because I'm trying to keep that in my brain to be able to recognize metric distances a little bit better. But yeah, this has been a pretty good little tape measure, and I don't really work on anything that's super long, so I found that this 6 foot or 2 meter tape has been working pretty good for me. Yeah, but Mike, yes, you're not far off on that. That one says LOL. Sam says, I see an issue with your planes. None have wings. Yes, they don't fly. Sam says, I hear boomerangs are making a comeback. I see what you did there. Sam's got all the jokes. Sam Packen says, is that the handle of an oar beside you? Why, yes. Yes, it is. This is what I'm working on right now, in between acoustic guitar stuff, making an oar for a little bit of shenanigans and tomfoolery with my daughter. Yeah, working on this. I'm hoping to finish it up here today. A little bit of shaping left to do, and yeah, get some finish on here and get it out there on the water and see how it works. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. Never made an oar before. Now I can't say that. Harry Dude says, here comes the metric versus standard discussion. See what I did there? Yep. No, I wasn't trying to open that can of worms, but you can't bring that up with anybody without there being a can of worms opened inadvertently. Did you guys ever notice that? Paul says, gotta go. Have a nice week. Right on, Paul. Have an awesome week yourself. Get to working on that GGBO guitar. Dastardly Dave says, sup all. Guess I gotta rewind later. Right on, Dave. What are you up to this fine Wednesday? It's a little chilly and misty here. Rick said, "Cool, a paddle guitar." Yeah, that's what Harry Dude said. Slap a fretboard and a little pickup on there. You got an upright paddle bass. Sam says, "Got new ISP, dandy computer." Oh, Harry Dude. Is the can of worms measured in liters or pints? Maybe milliliters or ounces. I don't know. I've yeah. Anyway, I like it. Sam said, "Grr, autocorrect." Oh, right on. I don't know what you was supposed to say. Desperately Dave says, "Mowing." Then I got voluntold to take a shower. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I guess after you mow, when I have to is like when I have the weed whacker out and I'm trimming the weeds, man, I just get covered with green mess. Sam says, "U.S. pint is different from a UK pint." I know. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I've learned about all the differences, or not all of them even, but some of the differences of all the different units, and there's so many. It's crazy. But I'm not debating one over the other. I see the advantages to any and all of them, and I can see disadvantages. So I'm not debating it. Sam says, "You could try the one chip challenge." I have thought about that. I've thought about trying the one chip challenge. Is that even still a thing? Wasn't that like a few years ago that came out or whatever? I do enjoy spicy stuff. Anyway, well, right on, guys. I think it's about time to get to wrapping this up because, well, I got an order to work on. Yeah. So be on the lookout for this video because there is likely to be some shenanigans and tomfoolery planned for this weekend. I do have episode 1 of the acoustic guitar planned for coming out this weekend. Probably the next one after that will be this guy here. Yeah, we'll see how it works out. So that's what I have planned. And then after that, probably episode 2, which should be this rosette. So I've kind of got the next few videos planned out. Let's see. Sam says, "Thanks for the fantastic stream. Be safe, everyone." Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you tuning in and hanging out. Neptune says, "Have fun with the pedal. Don't let it beat you." Well, I've already knocked off a lot of things from the surrounding area as I'm moving this around. Just knocking stuff over. So hopefully it doesn't beat me. But right on, guys. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out here at Home Built Workshop and talk about guitars and talk about pedals and talk about tape measures and all the fun stuff. I hope you all have an awesome remainder to your week and an awesome weekend. And you guys stay safe, stay well. Thanks so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and 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 you, all of you guys. Thanks so much. Rick says, "Take care." Neptune says, "Later all." Sam says, "Thanks for the time." Harry just says,